Today I'm gonna talk about James Bond themes. Specifically, my top 3. And me being a big Beatles fan, I had a pretty solid idea which song would be my number 1. But when I listened to all of the songs, I had to admit that there was one Bond theme that impressed me more. So, to my own surprise, on number 1, not the song that I expected. More on that later. Apart from that, lots of trivia about the coolest spy that ever hit the silver screen, the white screen and the flat screen. For instance, did you know that in 1983 not 1, but 2 Bond movies were released? Get out of here!
I'm to eliminate all free radicals.
And that one of the Bond themes that is in my top 3 is written by a famous rock singer who also owns a supermarket in Lithuania. More about that later. First a little bit about James Bond themes. As we speak, there are 24 Bond movies. Next year there will be a new Bond movie currently titled Bond 25. So that checks out. So next year we'll have 25 James Bond movies. That makes the series not a trilogy, but a pentacosology. Eat that, Star Wars, with your puny hendacology. That's 11 movies. So currently 24 Bond movies, so 24 Bond themes to rank. I'll post the full list in the comments together with a Spotify list. Now, what method did I use to rank, you might be asking. First, I ranked them on how much emotional impact the song has on me. Second, does it kickstart the movie, which a Bond theme should. And third, on how original and James Bondy the song is. Let me give you some examples with my worst 3 Bond themes. Third to last on my list is Tomorrow Never Dies.
Darling, I'm killed. I'm in a puddle on the floor.
Kinda meh, kinda whiny. However, it did get nominated for a Grammy and a Golden Globe. Now you're probably thinking, ha! This ranking method of yours sucks. 3 things. First, kiss my ass. It's my list. Second, be honest. You kinda forgot this song existed, didn't you? 3, Sheryl Crow lost the Grammy and Golden Globe nomination to this song. Put another way, Tomorrow Never Dies lost from the worst song ever. Twice. Second to last on my list, The Man with the Golden Gun by disco diva Lulu from 1974. Its only redeeming quality is that the intro does make you jump a little. But when the first line is sung,
He has a powerful weapon. He charges a million a shot.
he has a powerful weapon. This is about a Bond villain, not about some untrustworthy puppet from Sesame Street. Come on, this song sounds like it's from James Bond the musical. Last, Moonraker, sung by Shirley Bassey. I admit it doesn't make me cringe like The Man with the Golden Gun, but honestly, that's all it has going for it, because it's just too plain. It's so plain and boring. I don't even remember what I was talking about. It's so plain, it makes the Amish look like the village people. Anyway, you got it? Feelings, kickstart, James Bondiness. Now, without further ado, here's my top 3 of best James Bond themes. Let's go. On number 3. Goldeneye from the Bond movie with the same name. Now, this is a good song. The subtle beat it has.
See reflection.
Very nice, very moody, I like it a lot. Sung by Tina Turner, and this is the song that's written by the famous rock singer that also owns a supermarket in Lithuania. Which of course has nothing to do with tax benefits of any kind. Another hint, he wrote this song together with his guitarist Dave Evans, who's better known under the nickname The Edge. Indeed, I'm talking about Bono, singer of rock band U2. And they wrote Goldeneye specifically with Tina Turner in mind when they heard she was gonna sing the next Bond theme.
See reflections on the water, more than darkness in the depths.
Now, I think it's a real good song and I especially like the phenomenal bridge.
You'll never know how I watched you from the shadows as a child.
This is how you do it. Moody, brooding, full of emotion, while still sounding very much like a James Bond theme. Although, I'm not a fan of the trumpet hits. To me, they sound a little bit too much. This is a James Bond tune, can you tell? Goldeneye was the first James Bond movie to be made after the Berlin Wall was torn down. So some were slightly concerned that James Bond, traditionally fighting the Russians and meanwhile being a sexist pig,
Man talk.
was gonna be passé. So they had to tackle this when they made the movie, and they did. First, they made M, James Bond's boss, a woman.
Good night. The Prime Minister's talked to Moscow.
This was the first movie with the great Judi Dench as M. Secondly, she has this line in the movie.
Because I think you're a sexist, misogynist dinosaur. A relic of the Cold War.
Burn! And the movie was a huge success. Pierce Brosnan brought back the wit and charm that Roger Moore left behind, and that suits the James Bond character so well. Also, the movie has the best henchwoman from the franchise.
Very good, Mr. Bond. You've been to Russia?
Not recently.
Whoop whoop! And long before he became king in the north,
No longer just an anonymous star on the memorial wall at MI6.
Sean Bean. The man whose first and last name, surprisingly enough, don't rhyme. Next, number 2 on my list. Remember, this was the song I expected to be my number 1.
Say live and let die.
Live and Let Die from 1973 from the Bond film with the same name. Written by ex-Beatle Paul McCartney and performed by his band Wings. Where Goldeneye was real good, Live and Let Die is on another level. Evident by the fact that this was the first James Bond theme to be nominated for an Oscar for Best Original Song. This song kicks so much ass. The moment the chorus begins, you can just picture the explosions and the stunts and...
Live and let die.
Now I said chorus, but it actually doesn't really have a chorus. The song is really unconventionally structured. It has segments, and really useful segments for a movie too. A ballady bit for the romantic scenes.
When you were young.
A chorusy bit for the explosions.
Live and let die.
A speedy bit for the chases. And a reggae bit for the fun Caribbean scenes.
When you got a job to do, you gotta do it well.
McCartney said he had some trouble writing it because he wasn't used to writing a song with a set title, and he later said he felt sorry for the guy who had to write for Quantum of Solace. But I dare say that McCartney fellow did a damn good job. He recorded it with his band Wings and with Beatle producer George Martin, the only true George Martin, and it was a big hit in many countries. And in this movie, by the way, for the first time there's no megalomaniac supervillain, but a kind of plain drug smuggling plot. At that time, 1973, blaxploitation movies were very popular, and Live and Let Die shows it, with a lot of African American characters.
He's headed for the Irish Bayou. The man that gets to say a lot.
A real 70s aesthetic, and it all being a little goofy.
As soon as you nail that offending vehicle, Miss Pearson just called.
And I feel McCartney's song was an important factor in the success of the movie, because the movie was a little different from previous Bond movies. A new James Bond, no real supervillain, no Q, and the pulpy, campy blaxploitation feel. But the song is so good, nominated for an Oscar, performed by the legendary Paul McCartney, it didn't matter. Finally, are you ready? My number 1. In 1962, the first James Bond movie was Dr. No, followed by From Russia with Love in 1963. Two good movies, introducing the suave and charming, but gritty and violent secret agent. Good movies, but nothing more. And then it was 1964 and we heard this. Like a whip cutting through everything, pushing you back into your theater seat. What an intro.
Goldfinger.
Sung by Shirley Bassey, for the first time with the brass and trumpet that we now think of as so typically James Bond. So impressive this song, so in your face, so full of emotion. So impressive that Shirley Bassey sung 2 more Bond themes. One of which, if you remember, is Moonraker, last on my list. Lyrics for Goldfinger were written by Anthony Newley and Leslie Bricusse, who said that writing the line, "The man with the Midas touch," was the major breakthrough in writing the lyrics.
He's the man with the Midas touch.
And they recorded a demo for Shirley Bassey, which is interesting to hear because it sounds even more ominous.
Goldfinger, he's the man with the Midas touch.
The music was written by John Barry, and John Barry is the James Bond music dude. Barry was there from the first movie on, arranging the legendary theme song, but also writing the scores for 12 of the James Bond movies, which, apart from that original theme song, includes another James Bond theme. And like with Goldfinger, Barry wrote the music for another 8 title songs. In short, all hail John Barry, whose initials, by the way, are also JB. Coincidence? Yeah, probably. Anyway, with Goldfinger he pretty much invented the James Bond sound.
It's the kiss of death from Mr. Goldfinger.
A great blend of film and pop music. Another fun fact, Michael Caine, the actor, was Barry's roommate when Barry wrote Goldfinger. And allegedly, when Barry played it to him, Caine said immediately, "Aye, that sounds a lot like that song Moon River, Master Wayne."
Goldfinger.
So after that, Barry quickly added the 3 brass notes to disguise the similarity. Anyway, you need a special movie, one that burns images and stories into the audience's mind to kickstart a legend, and Goldfinger was that movie. A gritty movie like the first 2, but this time with probably the best Bond villain the franchise ever had, Auric Goldfinger. Not a caricature, but a real person. A little chubby, a little ugly, almost plain, but you sense the guy's dangerous, because he feels real. And as a certain movie rule says, your hero can only be memorable if your bad guy is memorable. In this case, so memorable that the title song is about him, the bad guy.
Goldfinger.
Which was really unusual at that time. And I remember seeing this movie for the first time when I was 12 or so, after I've seen other movies like Live and Let Die, and this was the first movie I felt that James Bond was in danger.
Do you expect me to talk? No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die.
And many other things that we now consider typically James Bond were first seen in Goldfinger. The henchman with the certain characteristic that kills a Bond girl. He doesn't even speak in the movie. But he made such an impact that since then the Bond henchman is a thing. The tuxedo underneath the dry suit. The Aston Martin, DB5.
You'll be using this Aston Martin DB5 with modifications.
The Q branch with all the tech gadgets was first seen in Goldfinger.
You see this arm here? Now open the top and inside are your defense mechanism controls.
And the title song.
Golden words he will pour in your ear.
Because Dr. No and From Russia With Love had more instrumental songs. That's how good the movie is. Goldfinger introduced all of this. Now the movie made $125 million. Nowadays that's not a number that really shocks us. I mean, what does it buy you? Virgil van Dijk? But back in '64, this was a crazy amount of money. In short, this is the Bond movie with the Bond theme song. Without Goldfinger, no 25 movies. No Pentacos 25 movies. And the title song and the movie really are a synergy, really amplifying each other. We're almost done, but one last thing. When I checked my top 3, I noticed something. And I think it's something that says a lot about the strength of music in movies. Because my number 2 and 3 on the list, Live and Let Die and Goldeneye, were also the movies that introduced a new actor as James Bond. Because Goldeneye was the first movie for Pierce Brosnan, and Live and Let Die was the first movie for Roger Moore. And arguably Goldfinger was the first true Bond movie with Sean Connery. And I think all 3 of these movies were very important in sustaining the success of the James Bond franchise. That's it for now. If you liked it, please share it with your friends and family and click the like button and subscribe. Wait, I forgot to tell you about the year of 2 Bond movies. Well, unfortunately time is up, so that has to wait until next time. Goodbye.